If you're consistent with that behavior where it's very easy, it's not like full of complicated workflows around it, then I think users reward you with their attention, with, you know, with just like, yeah, their time. So yeah, just be respectful with people's time, right? That feel like that's the crucial thing here.
Exactly.
Hey everyone, welcome to another founder Q&A video. This is the moment where we answer all of your questions about Resend related to the product, to engineering, to how we work, and everything in between. Today I have Vitor Capretz here with me. Hey Vitor.
Hey Zeno, glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Vitor is a super talented engineer. You know, he worked at Spotify before, and then we worked together at WorkOS, and now, you know, we're here working together recent. I'm super excited. Thanks, man, for taking the time. I'm gonna start with probably the hardest question from everything we got here. So brace yourself. So this is from Carlos. On LinkedIn, and he asked, "What do you don't like in Resend?" And then he elaborates, like, "I mean, a thing that you want to improve, but now you don't have the time, or something else."
Yeah, that's definitely a difficult question. I won't say it's something that I don't like, and of course there are tons of things we want to improve, and much less time than we would like to have. What is up in my mind right now? It's actually related to performance. So we are growing fast as a company, which is really good. So it's one of the good problems to have, right? But how do we ensure that we keep scaling and that we can onboard new customers as fast as possible and that all of our systems still are reliable? What about you, Zeno? Is there something you don't like?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I wish we had way more time to work on like some little things in overall just like performance improvements. You know, like moving from 400 milliseconds to 300 milliseconds to 200 milliseconds, like really like micro optimize specific endpoints in the user journey. But I think the thing I really don't like is that I wish we could serve users more. We hear a lot about people that come to us and say, "Oh, I love using Resend for my transactional emails, but I wish I could send my marketing emails, and I wish I could receive emails as well. I wish I could send SMS with Resend, like all of those things." And I just hoped we could give that, but it's hard. We're a very small team, right? So there's only so
Yes.
much you can do in a day, and there's so much happening already. Just keeping the servers up is a big challenge by itself today, right?
Yeah, exactly. But hopefully soon we're going to be able to have more and more things so we can, when customers ask for us, like, do you support X feature? We can say, yes, we do. Yeah, Zeno. This one's for you, coming from Ali on LinkedIn as well. Uh, they're asking, what was your thought process for going into a very crowded market with entrenched players? What were they not doing, maybe? And what did you think Resend could do better?
Yeah, man, there's so much around this, and a lot of things that we just discovered while we were talking to users, going to calls and just listening. And the thing that we hear a lot is around, just the experience as you're like going and like just trying to log in one of these dashboards. There's so much friction to get started. You're signing up for the first time. You want to send your first email, and it takes like 2 days for them to approve your account. And then things around just the nature of the system, like as you're going through the landing page and you're reading everything about that product, those things don't really resonate. At least with me, many of them don't. It's all about contact sales and like talk to a sales representative. I'm like, no, no, no. Like I just want to play
Yeah.
around with this product. I don't want to talk to any humans. I just want to figure it out, like play with the API, and then if it's good enough, then I'll think about like bringing to work. But first I need to just experiment with that. So there's a lot of little things around that. And overall, I think we can do way better in terms of building a solution that is modern, that fits today's technology stack. Like today, people are using things like serverless, and they need to be able to send emails in a background job, and it needs to be fast, it needs to be dynamic. And I feel like those are the things that we're missing when we go to the other players in the market. Like it's so hard to find information about those things, and a product that feels really developer first and not something built for someone else.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it's really about the experience, the first hand experience. Like we see a lot of people talking about the first time they tried Resend, and I experienced it myself. So it's like I could set up and like be ready to send emails in 5 minutes, you know. So that's super nice for us to hear that we can provide this experience and onboard people in a super nice way, right?
Totally. Like we joke about like the time to first email, right? Like the metric around like, people need to be able to do that really really fast. They need to experience what the product really does really really fast, and then you keep doing that. If you're consistent with that behavior where it's very easy, it's not like full of complicated workflows around it, then I think users reward you with their attention, with you know with just like, yeah, their time. So yeah, just be respectful of people's time, right? I feel like that's the crucial thing here.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit more about engineering. We use Tailwind a lot, and this question came from X, Lookberry Pie, great username by the way,
Great username.
and he asked, right?
Yep.
And he asked, how did you manage to scale using Tailwind? What libs did you use? He mentioned Tailwind merge, Tailwind variants. Yeah, and if you can just speak about it, maybe people are not familiar with Tailwind merge and variants. Like, can you just talk a little bit more about that, Victor?
Yeah, exactly. We don't actually use anything super specific for our Tailwind setup. We do have just the basic class names library that merges classes together, and we try to be very strict in our design system about components that you can actually change class names or not. So some of them are really strict, and you cannot just pass a new class name. But he mentioned a Tailwind merge, for instance. That's when you do have ability to keep adding new class names, and Tailwind has to figure out the correct way, like do this class override this one, for instance. Like if you have paddings, right? Like sometimes you want to override just for a specific use case instead of having maybe a button variant that is bigger, uh, something like that. Tailwind variants, for instance, what I'm really familiar is class variance authority, which is a library that's super neat, and it helps precisely with these combinations. So sometimes you're building a component that is, say, primary, and then you have a small variant. So you merge things together. We don't actually do any of these, so there's probably some room for us to improve. But for now, it's a super clean setup, really. Yeah, Zeno. Got another one from you, and related to Dracula, actually. So people do
Mm.
love Dracula, as we know. And then Arthur, also from LinkedIn, is asking how lessons learned from Dracula and other projects have influenced engineering and even product decisions at Resend. Could you give us an example of a challenge you faced, and then how your previous experience helped you overcome it with the current project?
Yeah, man. And just to give some context for folks who don't know, like Dracula is this theme for developers, and it's widely used today, but that was not the case 10 years ago when this project started, right? And that's the biggest lesson for me, just being patient. It takes time for people to trust, especially engineers, right? It's not like you really got to win their hearts, and to do that, it takes time. So you need to consistently build a product that keeps delivering every single week. There's a new thing. You're either improving an existing feature or augmenting what you have. And for me, that's the crucial thing, because when you do have patience and you're thinking on that 10-year, 15-year horizon, then the decisions you make within engineering are also based on that. So you're not going to try to be super fancy with your code because you know that maybe you're going to have to maintain that function that seems overly complicated today, and you know all the context today, but a year from now when you open that file again, you're going to be like, oh no, like who wrote this thing? And right, so you need to be uh, not just, yeah, not try to be fancy with, on the code level as you're writing like a line of code, but also on the architecture level, trying to keep your stack lean so you're not adding multiple layers and just making it harder for you to debug things later. And man, I just love building stuff for developers. And what Dracula really taught me is that if you listen to that audience, if you uh, really give attention to them, they are the ones that are going to send you the best feedbacks in the world. Uh, but they only do it once. If someone plays around with your product and they send you like a list of things that they are maybe frustrated that they wish were different, and then you just ignore that, you'll never hear from them again. But if you pay attention, if you implement some of them, if you prioritize that, if you have a good answer for those suggestions, then they're going to keep coming and they're going to be extremely loyal. So that's what I take with me. And it really, yeah, influences everything that we do for sure.
Nice, really great.
Vitor, last question. And this is around local development. So Gorka asked on X, how can I preview emails when developing?
Awesome. Yeah, we do have a package for it. It's called React Email. React Email itself, right? It's a set of packages. So maybe people are really not familiar with all of the things we do support because we do have components for building the emails. But then the React Email package itself is also a CLI that you install in your project, and then you have a folder with emails, and then you can just build it locally, and you have a preview. So it's a super nice developer experience. And we actually have some news around that because we are looking into performance problems that people are having. People are just saying how maybe the setup in mono repos, for instance, is not ideal. So how can we actually make sure that people are using React Mail, the CLI, in as many environments as possible, right? So on Windows, on Linux, on Mac OS. So we do want to have like a new look, a new perspective on the package and give some love as people deserve it.
Totally, man. And the JavaScript ecosystem moves so fast, right? Now there are
Yes,
things
yeah.
like PNPM and Bun, and we need to keep up with everything that's happening. So I'm super excited. I know you're working very hard on many of those things, so I appreciate that, man. And yeah, thanks for taking the time. This was really great, Vito. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Zeno. Thank you very much.